Hello, dear visitors of the Chocolate-Gourmet-Festival from Hanover in Germany. My name is Michaela Schupp from Schokoladen, and we're traveling to Summerdown to Jo Colman, who's the managing director of the company in the third generation, I believe, but he's going to tell us more about the history and the company in a few seconds. Thank you for being here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. Would you like to tell us about your, well, the company and the history, especially because it's very exciting, I think.
Of course. Well, I'm glad you think it's exciting too. We're very excited by it. So, as you said, I'm Jo. I'm from Summerdown, and we are a family farm based over in the UK. In Hampshire, so we're about an hour and a half outside of London. And it's on our farm where we've been going for around 100 years, but over the last 30 years we've started developing and becoming experts in growing peppermint. So about 30 years ago, my grandfather and our farm manager, Ian, they traveled to America, and they were told of this amazing, historically English mint called Black Mitcham. And about in the 1940s, we stopped growing Black Mitcham commercially in the UK, but some farmers in America started doing it around then, and we thought we'd like to reintroduce it back into English soil. So we took some cuttings, we planted it. Initially it was in my grandparents' garden, in their kitchen garden, with the help of our gardener, and we started taking some cultivating some cuttings, planting them out, and then about 28 years ago, we put the first Black Mitcham back in our soil, and it was about the size of half a tennis court. And it's from that first planting that we now grow around 100 acres of Black Mitcham peppermint. And all of those plants that we're growing today are directly related to that very first planting we made all those years ago. Which is why our Black Mitcham peppermint that we grow at Summerdown is completely unique. The self-hybridizing properties of the peppermint plant mean that the Black Mitcham we're growing is now a uniquely Summerdown Black Mitcham, and that's why all the chocolates and the teas and the treats that we create from our farm are unique, because it's our star ingredient, and that's why we like to call ourselves the peppermint people, because we are mad about our Black Mitcham peppermint.
Okay, and what do you produce with or from the mint? I understand, and then of course we have 3 different varieties of the mint chocolates. We will taste them later on. But you're doing other products too.
We do, yeah. So from the mint, we do 2 things on the farm initially with the mint. So we harvest our mint August every year. So we're here now in the end of September, but we finished last month. And most of the mint that we harvest, we distill into our distinctive kind of pure peppermint oil, but we then also hold some of our peppermint back, which we turn into a tea. So we've got a fantastic peppermint tea made entirely with the leaf that we grow on our farm. And then with the oil, we make our amazing range of chocolates, but we've also got a new range that we've been kind of developing over the last few years of candles and hand lotions and bath soaks. So really kind of for the body, for the bath, and for the home. Again, using our distinctive star ingredient of peppermint.
Wow, that's quite impressive. So it always smells very fresh, I think.
It does. I mean, whenever people do visit, they say it's the best smelling farm they've ever been to. And it's not hard, because along with the peppermint, we've developed this kind of experience in essential oils. So we also now grow some lavender and chamomile. And so again, throughout the summer, we've got some incredible smells coming from the fields and then from our on-site distillery, where we do all the distillation ourselves.
You should, maybe it's a new business idea, give tours around your...
Oh, we'd love to. It's something that I dream of being able to do. The trouble is, when you're a kind of an active farm, is it's quite a few dangerous machinery things driving around. So we've got to be careful. But the hope is one day we can welcome visitors to experience Summerdown, because it really is a playground for bees and butterflies. We've even got some peacocks on the farm.
Oh wow!
it's the kind of wildlife, that fauna and flora that we are passionate about. It's something that we really care deeply about, is the sustainability of what we're doing as a farm. So we've got broad meadows of wildflowers. We actually have one of the rarest wildflowers in Europe growing on our farm, called the Greater Venus Looking Glass. And I think there's only one other place in Europe where it grows. And it's something that we know that the wilder and the more sustainable the farm as a whole is, the better tasting the peppermint's going to be, because we've got these pollinators of butterflies and moths and bees flying around the fields. And we actually work with a number of local beekeepers who set up hives around all of our fields. And it just brings the farm alive. So I have to say summer is one of my favourite time of year, not just because it's a bit warmer, but because the farm really does come alive with the ground nest birds and the butterflies, and it's beautiful.
So tell me a bit more about how mint grows. I think I've never been, I've never been on a, or I've never seen mint grow.
No, it's not the most normal thing to go and visit a peppermint farm. So I suppose the first thing to say is, for all of you joining us today, don't think of our peppermint like the mint that you'd grow in your garden, kind of garden mint. That's spearmint, and spearmint classically grows like a weed. It roots itself and then explodes. Our peppermint, unfortunately, but it really does mean we've had to learn our skills well, is a very difficult and tricky plant to grow. Firstly, it only roots kind of about that far, 10 centimeters into the soil. So it's a very lazy plant, which if we have weather that doesn't quite go our way, either not enough rain in the spring or not enough sun in the summer, it doesn't grow as happily as we might like it to. But it does mean that we've had to learn and work hard at developing our knowledge of how to cultivate it in as natural a way as possible. So were you to visit Summerdown last month when we were harvesting, you'd stand on the edge of a field and you might be a little bit surprised, because it looks a bit scrappy and it looks a bit dark, and there seems to be this kind of black hue across the field, and actually that's why it's called Black Mitcham. So there should be a photograph coming up now which shows the field first from the kind of the wide angle. You've got this kind of dark green hue across, and that's the peppermint leaves itself. We know when they're starting to effectively ripen, like you'd expect a grape on a vineyard, because the leaves are just getting full of the essential oils. The oil capsules that exist underneath the leaf are filling up, and then just before harvest, these beautiful purple flower heads appear, and they're full of the menthol. So Black Mitcham is about 70% menthol type essential oil, and there are around 70 fractions of essential oils within our Black Mitcham plant, and so that's what makes the distilling process so special, because we've got to work really hard to extract every single one of those 70 fractions to create that rounded flavor that you get in the chocolates that we then sell. And so I can't wait to do the tasting later, where I'll be able to kind of talk through and explain how special that flavor is, of that kind of menthol which you'd kind of expect to get with peppermint, but there's so much more kind of going on, and every bit of the plant is needed to make that kind of special Summerdown Black Mitcham taste.
So how tall does it grow, or how high is it?
Oh, every year it's different. Sadly, this year is it's been a tricky year, not only with coronavirus for us all, but the weather in England hasn't been particularly helpful. So it was really only up to my knee this year, but in a good year, we'd want it to be up around waist height. And so it grows much like a small shrub would. And again, you should be seeing some photographs of the plant a little bit closer up, and you see it kind of it starts off in the ground and sprouts out much like you would expect almost a kind of a flower to do so, but it's a very different flower, and that purple flower head at the top is when we know it's ready for harvest.
Okay, but do you also, so for the chocolate or for the oils, you just use the leaves or also the flowers?
And the flower heads, it all goes in. So once we're ready for harvest, we go through the field with effectively a glorified lawnmower, and we cut the mint and we leave it for a day, and that we leave it on the ground for a day because it releases the excess moisture, and kind of a plant naturally carries a lot of water in its stem, and we don't need that water. What we want is the essential oil. So once we've left it in the field for a day, the moisture has evaporated. We come back over with what's called a forage harvester. And so imagine, the big combine harvesters that, you're used to in farming books. It's a smaller version of that, but it specializes in picking up our mint, chopping it up, and then again, you'll see a photograph of what we call our cooker tubs. And they're effectively mobile distillation units. And so we chop the plant, we put it into these yellow cooker tubs, which are then driven down to our on-site distillery, where we connect it up to our old boiler, and we force through for a number of hours this really hot, wet steam. And we use steam for a few reasons. One, it's as I said, sustainability is really important to us. We work really closely with our local water board, and so we've got a really healthy, sustainable supply of groundwater that we work from. It then also acts as it breaks down the oil capsules throughout the plant, and then it lifts it through the cooker tub into our condensers, where we use a very scientific but simple scientific method of oil floating on water to be able to separate out then that steam, essential oil. And the reason why it takes so many hours is because the different fractions of oil in the plant, they come out of the plant at different rates, and so that the menthol is the heaviest bit, and that takes the longest. So for you smell the oil at different parts of the distillation process. It smells different at every stage. It's only when it's all together you start to get that kind of black Mitcham Summerdown smell. And the last thing that we do that I'm really kind of excited by, because I can't quite understand it, but it happens. We leave the oil in a barrel sealed for 2 years before we touch it. We treat it like a fine wine. And in those 2 years, the flavor develops from initially was quite a harsh, menthol heavy peppermint smell, kind of hits you in the face, to, and what everyone you'll be tasting later, a really rounded flavor that is just moorish and full of kind of it almost gets your kind of gland going. It just tastes like peppermint should taste, and we think that again is due to two things: of one, growing such a rare and specific plant, but then treating the whole process with such care, from the planting to the growing to the distillation, and then we leave it for 2 years, and it transforms the flavor.
Okay. And do you also produce the chocolates yourself?
We don't know. So we know what we are good at. We are the peppermint people. We're fantastic at farming and harvesting and distilling. So we've partnered with a couple family firms in England who are brilliant chocolatiers. And so we've worked with them over the last 10, 15 years to develop recipes using our oil and working kind of and choosing specifically chocolates that enhance and work with the oil that we are able to create. So in fact, a lot of the chocolates that we use, were it to be eaten on its own, might be a bit boring. It's not a complex flavor. We're not kind of doing, we're not searching out a very complex cacao. What we wanted was a really just deep, rich chocolate flavor. So all of the chocolates that we produce are dark chocolates. They're either a 55% or a 70%. And we chose those chocolates so that the peppermint shines, because that's the bit that we're really excited about.
Yes. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all the explanations and insights.
Pleasure.
And we'll be back in a minute to enjoy and experiment and taste the peppermint chocolates.
Yes.
So I see you in a minute.
Yeah, fantastic. See you then.
Thank you.
Ja, hallo liebe Zuschauer. Leider hat es mit dem Jo heute nicht geklappt, deswegen müsst ihr mit mir alleine vornehmen. Aber ich stelle einfach mal die Produkte, die wir haben von Summermint vor. Wir haben einmal die Chocolate Peppermint Creams. Wenn man die Schachtel aufmacht, ist schon sofort die Pfefferminze da. Und es ist, wie er schon erklärt hat, frische Pfefferminze, or it's fresh peppermint. Ich wechsle mal wieder. I'm changing back to English because the interview was in English. So it's you immediately get the mint flavor from the black medium peppermint, and we have those like they call them the creams. So as you can see them, they are filled with a mint cream. Very fresh and peppermint flavor, of course. In dark chocolate. I like the combination. Very fresh. And I think it's also good that it's dark chocolate, not milk chocolate. And unfortunately, well, Jo is not here, but we have another product here, and this is the chocolate peppermint crisps. So as you can see on the surface of this little chocolate, I'm going to call it bars, you have a little oil bubbles or inclusions of the peppermint oil. So it's a different way of presenting it. If you look from the side, you can see also the peppermint. And yeah, I still have it on my tongue. Mm-hmm. So this is a crispy variation. If you prefer this, you can hear it's very crispy. So you have the peppermint on top, also dark chocolate, which is also very nice. And then we have the chocolate peppermint thins. These are round little tablets. They're not even on the top. And if you break them, you cannot see anything because the peppermint is in the chocolate, was stirred. But again, you can smell it. The most intense flavor is in the creams, because you have it's fairly thick, the filling, and the least, I think, in the thins. I'm sorry I cannot tell you more about this. Just about, if you like fresh peppermint, these are some product ideas for you. And I'm sure when Jo is back from holiday, it's his wife's birthday weekend and they went away for a holiday, we can do the tasting at a later point and give it to you, show it to you. So thank you very much. And our next chocolate maker is also from England. It's Salty Key, but we're going for a short break now. Thank you.